Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe Podcast, aka the Pup List. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast, bringing you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. Just two Wisconsin boys talking about our team, the Pack. This is episode 334. We're recording this tonight live on Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. Yeah, the Packers lost to the Eagles, and now we're headed out to New York City to take on the Giants. If we can make it there, Ren, we can make it anywhere. It's up to us. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me, as always, is
Ren. What up, Tay? I picked up what you were putting down there. Gave me the nerd shivers a little bit, but I don't know how long you worked on that one prior to show open, but good on you for that one, Tay.
I just made that one up.
The universe,
yep,
really, they ate that one up for sure. That was pretty good.
Well, I appreciate everyone jumping in the live stream tonight. You guys can too out there if you are interested. We're on YouTube, X, and Twitch. If you want to find us there, you can. We go live every Wednesday evening, and then we also do a
8 to 8:30, something like that, you know?
Yeah, 8 to 8:30, a little longer tonight, but we're usually on around 8 p.m. Central Time, and you can hit us up after the games too. We go live and give our first takeaway, which this last one, Ren, I feel like we swapped personalities. I was the bitter, dejected loser fan after that. I was just like, it was just painful to watch, and I didn't like any of that. But you were like, whatever, that's them. I don't care. Move on.
Yep.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess after 2 days now, that was Monday Night Football. Now this is Wednesday night, 48 hours later. I'm still a little disappointed. I'm still a little just kind of, I don't know, a little bit kind of sour on it. I wasn't up for much football at all in the last 48 hours to look things up. I wasn't excited. And the only thing that kind of got me happy was the fact that we're going out to New York and taking on a 2-8 football team that we might be able to win against, but we'll talk about that later. So maybe there's some optimism, like some, like, I don't know, greener grass over there. But I'm just kind of like, whatever. I don't know. I listened to Matt's press conference today, and it's basically just copy paste. He's not saying anything different.
Wash, rinse, repeat, Tay.
Just he's taking all the blame and no, we're fine, we're moving forward. And it's just like, I don't know what he's supposed to say. What do we expect him to say? But I guess I didn't expect him. I want him to say something else, like something else. But the offense is on him. We just gotta like be more consistent. That's been his line all year. Our consistency's bad. Oh, okay. And it's like, we have to keep doing what we're doing, or we're trying to do all these things. It's like, well, I feel like when he's talking about the football team and the offense, he's talking about like, we need to set up our players and get them in the right positions. I'm like, no, dude, it's you. So say I'm going to try to get them into position, right? Like, I'm trying to get these players. He talked about, we got to get, Tucker Kraft the ball. We got to get,
Tucker Kraft ain't getting the ball.
Oh, I know. But what I'm saying is, like, he would say that, like, we got to get him the ball. We got to get Watson the ball. Man, he's been a huge, help for us since well, you're the one that can do that. You're the play caller. You said to the media today, you're not changing your play calling. You're still going to be the guy. Like he kind of like scoffed a little bit, like, no, I'm going to still do that. And then I don't know, like, he just seems to dismiss everything that we're concerned about. And it's coach speak. What do we expect from him? But I guess maybe this week I did. He says, we're not changing the kicker. Brandon McManus is our guy. Like, why wouldn't you have faith in him? Like, oh, everyone misses kicks. It's like, no, you have two guys on the roster right now. You have one guy that's been missing a lot, and you have another guy that's new and fresh and hasn't been missing. So there's something weird going on.
Why is he even on the roster?
Well,
You know,
he's
'cause
LaFleur said,
McManus isn't even on the injury report this week, Tay. So clearly, it indicates he's what 100% now. 100% probably going to miss a kick in New York, but
yeah,
you know,
it's probable to miss. But
I don't know.
LaFleur said there's room on the roster. Like they can have both. So it's like if you can have both,
But
then
why?
I mean,
But why do you have it?
yeah, why do you have both? Like, is this an injury thing? Well, I don't know. So like, we could go down this kicker rabbit hole for a long time, but like there's been this like weird thing where McManus will talk to the media and he'll say one thing and then that'll contradict what Matt has said, and then there'll be like kind of like this weird conflict of what they reported both said about each other, and it just seems to be like off. And again, it's like, oh, LaFleur is like, well, we have both of them on the roster. We have the flexibility to do that. Well, if there's no injury, but Brennan is also saying he kind of is. So what gives? And Matt LaFleur went through the system like a player goes through the health check, and then we ask the player, do you want to play? And then if they say yes, then they play, right? And so he's going through the process with you. But still there's something going on. Like, they were like, no, you're our kicker. You need to go out there. I don't know what's happening, but it's something seems weird. It seems off. And we're going to get more of the same, aren't we?
I mean, it's right in line with, Packer special teams credibility piece, Tay. It definitely suits the narrative that it's always suited. This is a perennial bottom 5 special teams. Matt LaFleur holds on to guys, i.e. old defensive coordinators, i.e. special teams coordinators, too long. We'll never fire one in season. And it's just a weird, I don't know. That's weird. He became a meme after that game with the tablet this week with his Culver's order or whatever else he's looking up, how to run an NFL offense. That was on the tablet. I mean, all sorts of things. And then obviously not just locally, there's an article in The Athletic, but I think it was Matt Schneidman. And, but, is the seat getting hot? And, locally and nationally, some would say, yeah, it's starting to stir up, because it's certainly if, you look at the rest of the season and they only win, 3-4 more games, Tay, they end up in that 8-9, 9-8 realm. There could be change, and Ed Policy says he doesn't want to go into next year with, lamed up GM and or coach, but, he also didn't want to just hand out extensions right away. So we'll see what happens with LaFleur, but.
Well, what's your take? Do you think, does Ren think that he's on the hot seat or should be?
I think he is now. He's aware of it. He was asked, post game, and he acknowledged, you always should be, knowing you're playing for your job, you're coaching for your job. That's, part of the reality, I'm paraphrasing, of, coaching and playing in the NFL. But, if it remains inconsistent and, they don't perform well over the second half of the season, there's a shot he may not, return next year, no doubt.
The hot seat, the proverbial hot seat, I think is a social kind of like the media says that first, right? Like no one's saying that like in-house and then it leaks out.
Of course. Not at this point.
So you're saying that you agree with that he is on the hot seat and should be?
I'm saying, yeah, it's warming up at the very least, Tay, and he should be well aware that, you continue at times to put up 3 times this year, Tay. The Packers have put up 13 or less points. Yeah. And in those 3 occasions, 2 of those 3 occasions outside of the Eagles, it was against 2 very bad football teams. And, put a little salt in the wound there, Tay. The Saints just beat those Carolina Panthers. The Panthers scored a whole 7 whopping points against the Saints, who are an awful football team today. Awful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it is what it is, man. But, certainly the other part that's been big since that game and talked about in the last 48 hours since we did the first take was that 4th and 1, it's about a minute and a half left. The Packers have it at about their own 44-yard line. And that's where they have really the best opportunity to get down and get 3 or 7 to either go up or tie this thing. And Philly, pressing Philly into, getting down the field to either, kick a game winner or get a touchdown to win. And what happens is the Eagles call out that inside zone run, and ultimately there's a fumble, and it's, Eagles football. So that's been really the biggest Packer talking point is it seems like the blueprint on how to, play defense against Green Bay Packers, it's out there. And so much so that, Josh Jacobs is, telling you, and you could hear it on the broadcast. I didn't hear it personally. Obviously, when you rewatch clips of it, yeah, you can hear Moro Ajomo, the defensive tackle, calling out that inside zone run, and they get there in a heartbeat. And, they wouldn't have gotten it anyway, but ultimately, and turned it over on downs, but ultimately it's a fumble as well. So,
yeah, obviously there's a huge focus on from the fans and the media. This offense is struggling, and it just seems to do this Jekyll and Hyde thing where, you're up and down, and you just gotta shake your head and wonder why. And I think I guess when it comes back to it, I think it comes back to coaching, right? So I guess the thing I'll say about Matt LaFleur is I'm fine with, him hearing from the media and stuff about the hot seat and that maybe it's starting to warm up a little bit. But yeah, you can, call for Matt LaFleur's firing all you want. And it's sometimes, and most of the time, is a knee-jerk reaction. But I think each fan has to ask themselves, if they believe in him or not. And I guess I do to a degree, but I don't want to call for his head. I don't want him to be fired. What I want to call for is him to change things up, right? To not be so predictable. You have a flux of offensive linemen coming in now. You have to account for injuries. You have a ton of revolving door with the wide receivers and your pass catchers. Really, the run game is really the only solidified thing right now on the offense. Jordan Love is up and down based on pressures and how he calls the game, or maybe is let to call the game, after the huddle. But I think that's where change needs. And I think Matt LaFleur can change there. And I think he needs to. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for him to as soon as a coach and the team goes bad, you gotta fire him. Well, that's not necessarily always the case. There is some ability to turn around and opportunity for that coach to figure things out. And that's what needs to happen. I guess I see for Matt LaFleur here. I don't want to give up on him, but I need him to change something because the last 2 games has kind of been pathetic for what we expect out of this offense and what they're capable of. So that's where I lie here. I just hope that he does something else with this.
Well, I mean, obviously with some of the personnel changing too, with obviously Tucker out a couple weeks ago, and now Elton with the fracture, the leg fracture, unfortunately, the fibula fracture. We don't know if that's hairline or what the situation is. If it's hairline, maybe if they get to the playoffs, a guy like that could be ready. But the reality is he's probably not back for the rest of the season. So you do have to change it up. I mean, we did see a little bit of that extra lineman in there that's eligible on Monday. They seem to not be able to line that thing up right on Monday when they're starting to kind of figure out, hey, we need some different looks here with maybe a 6 guy in, being that Tuck's not available, and we got to change it up. But yeah, the offense has got super predictable. Jordan Love has had a sub 90 rating in the 3 losses, and he's looked really inconsistent in those losses. And some of that's on him, no doubt. I mean, because the head coach can't throw the football. We know Jordan, from a talent perspective, he's oozing with talent. We know he can move the ball on the ground with his feet. We know he's got a big arm. We've seen the games like fourth quarter in Pittsburgh over the years, Dallas in the playoffs, and many others in between, where Jordan can just light it up. But you got to get Watson a little bit more involved. And when you're seeing those that two shell look with the safeties over the top, and you've got that middle. I mean, certainly Jordan was missing some guys in the middle of the field that were open on Monday. And that part is on him, but I think Matt's got to scheme it up a little bit better too, because the run game, as Josh would tell you, I mean, and many others out there, this thing is super predictable at this point. They want to get it going. We know generally they're going to start the game with a run to the right or left side with Josh Jacobs. It's going to happen, and likely it's going to happen on second down. And then because the run game has not, unfortunately, really been like it was last year, you're staring at a 3rd and 4, a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 6 against the sticks right away, to start your first drive of the game typically. And that's just not going to cut it. And it's sometimes just so basic like that. He's just going to have to adjust and understand the run game is not going to be there to be the, entirety of the offense. You're going to have to start play actioning a lot more, be under center more, and, bring in some additional elements to, whoever you're bringing in with regard to pass catchers. What happened to, slant plays with wide receivers? Remember, that was like a bread and butter thing in the mid-teens with the Packers. That's like completely disappeared. Obviously, when Jaden Reed's around, there is some of that, but again, it seems like the offensive play calling in general, it starts with the run, but even into the passing game has become very predictable, and defenses they're keen on it, man. And you can't become that, because then guess what? You're going to go out to New York and lose too.
Yeah. LaFleur wants to be more consistent with everything, but maybe he's looking for like minimum level, right? I mean, what if he's looking for that out of his team? Like, we got to get to here before we can get to here. And the up here is, more play calls that involved a lot of different things that maybe they're just not able to do. But I just can't believe that that's the case right now.
Most of these guys have been.
This is a professional football team, right? Yeah. And they've been together. So
they talk about they're one of the youngest teams in the NFL, but that's not an excuse anymore. Like they said in the broadcast, they've been together long enough now that these guys should know their assignment. I mean, this is nothing new. I mean, sure, a rookie here and there is gonna, miss a play, but at times, like people pointed out, you've got receivers running into each other on routes. It's just like it's very disjointed. Obviously this is a very heavily penalized football team, and a lot of that comes on offense as well. It's just it begs a lot of questions, man. And again, some of that is purely just coaching, that these guys are not prepared.
Yes. Well, I guess I'm overall critical of the whole team, but I guess I shouldn't be as critical coming off this loss to the Eagles in terms of the defense. I think they did play well. You got to give it to them. They, held them to 10. And although they, you're not getting sacks this game, you still got a lot of pressure. Micah is still doing that. He might not be getting on the stat sheet a lot, but you got guys like him still doing his job, running down the quarterback. But I thought the switch to Valentine from Nate Hobbs has been amazing. Valentine really stood out in that game on Monday night. I think he solidified himself in the, at least the top 2 cornerbacks starting now. And
we know Asante Samuel Jr. is not walking through the door, being that he's in Pittsburgh now. So
yeah, Asante Samuel signed with the practice or on the practice squad for the Steelers, so not even on a 53-man roster. So I don't know. That's probably his decision, but could use a little help over here in Green Bay, I think.
Yeah, and I know he. I think he had some connection to Derek Ansley, the defensive passing coordinator for the Packers. Is that his official title? Not quite sure. D-backs coordinator, but yeah, just went the Pittsburgh route, and that they kind of look like they're the Packers and the Steelers kind of head in both the same direction, which is the wrong direction. Could be a struggle bus for both these teams down the stretch.
Yeah, like you mentioned before, Ren, the roster move that we need to point out is Elton Jenkins likely out for the year, put on IR. Yeah, he could come back, but really that's only like postseason. We don't know the severity of the leg fracture. Will we know? Who knows? I think we'd only know if like he started practicing again, and that was really deep into the season. So this sucks because it's just it throws everything into a bit of a disarray, a little bit of a more of a carousel. And you got Sean Ryan as center, and he'll start this week. And he did pretty good coming in, but we'll see if that's the way they go. But you pointed out during the first take on Monday Night, Ren, something that I don't think I needed to say, but I guess I was right about Josh Myers, and I don't think we should have gotten rid of him. Have a dedicated center here. Not that bringing Elton to the center position got him injured or would have been, changed the trajectory. But if, this offensive line struggles to have some sort of continuity and helps pass protect well, maybe it's fine. But I just think maybe Elton was better at his guard position and as a sub for the tackle, and you should have a dedicated center. So that was kind of my big point about Josh Myers. You didn't need him to be great. You just needed him. And now, I don't know. I feel like this whole line is a little bit up in the air with the whole Banks thing not really working out. I think he had a couple penalties on him on Monday night.
Yeah, and he's olaying guys too. Just letting guys like olay right past him. Like,
Olay.
Yeah, he just as people would say, it's seems like a waste of $70-some million. Tay, I don't know if they're going to cut bait right away this offseason, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, and that's also coming off.
It was a bad free agent signing, man.
Same
I hope Brian owns up to it.
Same with the Nate Hobbs. It's like he's basically been demoted to third overall, if not, I don't know. Even maybe when you do dime or nickel, he's in there. Maybe.
I mean, Bullard's
Bullard.
Bullard's your for sure nickel now. So I think Hobbs is your off the bench guy at this point. That's where I'd have him.
So both those guys very underwhelming, and disappointing. Point now in the season with those two. But I don't know, the offensive line. It's like I got huge question marks. My confidence level isn't that great with them. So we'll see that going forward. But that seems to be an issue, and I think will be, because to me right now, Love needs a clean pocket to be successful. And although he's maybe making some plays running out of the pocket, it's not working out as a team when the receivers aren't noticing that or knowing what to do. He just seems to not be able to get those players to come back or to scramble like that. That's not seeming to work to me. And when Jordan throws it, then, going into the sidelines, it's into double coverage, and Watson's got to play CB now, and it's just it's a disaster. So I don't like this. I don't like it at all.
Well, I mean, and I'm not saying I like it either. But that being said, if Sean Ryan can play like I saw him play when he came in Elton's stead, I don't think Elton was playing a great brand of center, let's be honest. And they can maybe, kind of shore up that line. Obviously have Jordan Morgan next to him in the right guards piece, Zach Tom at the right tackle, obviously Rasheed Walker at left. And then what do you do at left guard? Do you try Kennard out there? Do you maybe see if Anthony Belton can go there in a spot, and maybe this thing looks a little bit better? Who knows? I'm just gonna be glass half full on that and say, well, we're down a body. That's not good, but overall, maybe this will be a better line blend when it's all said and done.
Yeah, maybe they can shake things out a little bit here and find out what works. Get the best five out there, as they like to say. And maybe they're doing that in practice. I mean, maybe they've always done that. Who knows? But
we know that the starting units have had out there at times have been, really pretty lackluster, which is leading to some of these offensive woes as well. We know that people like Dan Orlovsky talk about, with the way the offensive line has played for the Packers this year, they can't be true contenders up to this point. They've got to get it figured out. And really, I got to get it figured out in a hurry now, Tay, because half the season's over, and if this line can't come together and play a little better than they have, they're going to continue to have problems the last half of the season. They are.
That's right.
100%.
Let's move on officially to signify the injury report, Ren. I know you can't see that on your tiny little phone there, but
I cannot read a darn thing there. I did read a little bit of the injury report for both teams today, but you can go ahead and tell the universe what we're looking at there, Tay.
The did not participate is Nate Hobbs. He's got a knee injury, so don't know what's going on there. And then Lucas Van Ness is a did not participate. Matt LaFleur basically right at the end of his press conference today said, yeah, I'm not ready to comment on him. So there's no way Van Ness is playing. It would be a shocker for sure.
We'll see.
We'll see. Romeo was a full participation. Matt LaFleur says he's fine. Some chest thing. Looked like heartburn to me, but I don't know. I'm not a medical doctor. Let's see. Limited participation. Edgerrin Cooper, a foot. I don't remember. That must have been just something that came out of the game.
Yep.
JJ Anibare, limited participation. Matthew Golden is limited today. Hopefully he can get going. Let's see him out there. That'd be great. Micah Parsons was also on the injury report with limited participation for
pectoral.
So I would guess he's going to play. That this isn't going to stop him. Zach Tom also limited. And then you got Quay Walker, Dontavian Wicks, and Savion limited participation. A lot of these guys were kind of like this, going into Monday Night Football. Wicks, Williams, kind of banged up. Golden too, but most of them pulled it out, and I expect that to be the case. But I doubt we're going to see Van Ness. Nate Hobbs, I don't know what's going on with him. If that
even last week they said it was at least a 2-week injury, so
okay,
that this would be week 2, so he's not going to play.
But yeah, like you mentioned way earlier, Ren, Brandon McManus is not on the injury report, so we're done with the injury excuse, and so we'll see if things will change with that. I guess like going back to that, I know we talked about it in the first takeaway, but I just didn't like that whole ending. I thought, like you asked me the question, would I rather have had them just bomb it, and try to get the touchdown? And yes, but I also would like a nice setup for McManus. He went out there, kicked that fake one, or the
iced one,
and then he runs back to the sideline while they try to get 2 more yards, which that play blew up in their face. Then he runs back out it's just like, yeah, I know that's your job, but that's not a good situation to put your kicker in. Anyway.
Well, and again, I just disagree with the whole thing only because we're talking about that whole situation. They had no business being in it. They're only in that situation, Tay, because the Eagles were morons and ran a pass play on 4th down and turned it over on downs. And that was a pass play down the sideline near the goal line to Brown that Valentine was there to break up. But so they had an opportunity to get into somewhat of field goal range, not really. But it was really the drive before, like I talked about, where, hey, 4th and 1, you got to have that, man. It's 4th and 1 on your 44. That was their opportunity to win that game. Yeah, the Eagles were stupid and gave you an opportunity, which they shouldn't have done. That was an awful decision by Nick Sirianni. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, they weren't going to make that 64-yard field goal, Tay, in the cold. He's been, you got to kick it lower to get the distance on it, which they did kick it low, and it was just, the snap wasn't good. Whatever. It was never. I was never a fan of it. I would have rather chucked it, 100%. But they were lucky to have the opportunity at all. You're.
Oops, sorry.
There you go. You muted yourself. Yeah, most people don't want to hear your take anyway, but go ahead.
No, actually, it was a golf question. So, as a golfer, Ren, is that he went off to his left? Is that a hook or is that a slice?
I would say that's a hook, Tay. He hooked it.
Yeah. Well,
trying to remember my golf shot when I would often slice Tay off the tee. So, yeah.
Okay.
My slice would go this way. So, yeah, I'd say that's a That's a hook. He hooked it.
He hooked it. All right. He hooked it. All right, Ren, let's get off this Eagles. Let's get off this injury talk. Let's move on to something in the future. The Giants. Like I said before, this team is 2-8. They're 4th in their division. They just fired their coach, Brian Daboll.
Dable, Tay. Daboll. You don't even know, man. I love it. That's great.
Daboll.
Yeah.
They promoted Mike Kafka as their interim head coach, and then also bringing up Tim Kelly, the tight ends coach, to call the plays. But I think what was most interesting about this upcoming matchup is this, Ren. We got news, I think, was it today or maybe yesterday? But
let's say it was yesterday, yeah. Or it could have been today. I mean, they all blend together, man.
Jameis Winston gets promoted because, was it Jackson Dart has a concussion and probably will be out. And you can see in the picture, Russell is behind Jameis. And so Jameis Winston gets the nod as the QB1 over Russell Wilson. Whatever. I mean, they're both seasoned quarterbacks. Jameis hasn't really been that bad when he's been bouncing around from team to team now since Tampa Bay. But
yeah, he was in New Orleans, he was in Cleveland, he's in New York. The guy can make all the throws too. He's got a big arm. Yeah, I mean, he can throw it, but he'll make some great throws. He'll throw it into traffic too. I think he had one season where he had like 30 touchdowns and I want to say like 20 some interceptions. He's just a guy who's he could put up a lot of yards on you, dude. So I mean, I would have much rather seen Russ and his nano bubbles out there because he doesn't have it anymore. It's done. But Jameis is a wild card, literally. He plays like a wild card.
Yeah,
he is a wild card. Of course, they get the interim head coach juice game 1 against the Packers. We know how that usually goes. So even against a 2-8 team, you see kind of weird things like this, and the way the Packers are so inconsistent right now, you go, I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. Obviously, Jackson Dart, third most touchdowns in the NFL. He had 15 passing and 5 on the ground. Dynamic guy, dynamic young rookie quarterback. And, yeah, he's taken a couple really bad hits this year, Tay. And basically they're saying, Jameis is going to start on Sunday because of that, because he needs some time. And, yeah, you got to be careful with hopefully what's a future prized asset in Jackson Dart that's going to basically take this Giants team that's been way down probably now 5, 6, 7, 8 years and start getting them to the point where they can compete for playoff berths. So I'd be careful with it too. If I'm, the people making decisions in New York, because he is talented, they lost their other talented rookie a few weeks back in Cam Scattaboo with that just gruesome ankle injury. Not good. Basically went the other way, and there was a fracture with that, and awful stuff. So, they're down a couple big pieces there, but you got to be smart about it, especially again with the your starting future quarterback for hopefully many years in New York. And yeah, it scares me, Tay. It scares me to have that wild card in Winston out there, and the Packer D has really been pretty solid all season outside of the one aberration in Dallas. This has been a very, very good defense as far as, allowing points or not allowing points for that matter in Green Bay. It's just a matter of, in those losses, again, 3 times for the Packers, they've scored 13 or less points. And that's where you're going to look. Hopefully the defense will be up to the task, limit that, and the Packers start getting into the red zone. Because I think even when you talk about the Packer defense, the Eagles only had 1 trip to the red zone last week, Tay. That's it. And obviously they scored. But, you can hang your head on, 1 trip allowed by your defense to the Super Bowl champs. That's a heck of a night. So,
yeah, I really think this Jameis Winston thing and the coaching change is what I'm most fearful for. You look at their roster, and on offense, they've got a ton of injuries, and a lot of no names. Like most of their named players are injured. So it's not too scary, but also what can our offense do? How will they bounce back off of these last 2 game performances? So I don't know. I really think that excuse me, the Packers can really continued and underperform, and I think it's going to be really up to them to not make mistakes and to have a good football game. Let's just get back here, and that's what I'm hoping for. So I'm looking at like a 24-17 win over the Giants.
And if they won, let's say 24-17, Tay, by 7, does that make you feel good? Are you going to be like, oh, yeah, are you going to still be like, I don't know what to expect next Sunday now against the Vikings?
It all depends on how it happens. If you're 24 points because you scored 3 touchdowns in the first half and then scored 3 in the second, whatever.
Oh, they took their foot off the gas?
Yeah, exactly.
And let a team climb back in?
Exactly. I don't know. I mean, the Packers just look stale in the first half through most of the season.
Yeah.
And I really want to see them come out. So yeah, give and take, Ren. If they're gonna score in the first half, fine. Let off the gas. That's their MO. So whatever, we're gonna see it. But
all gas, no effing brake, Tay.
I wish Matt LaFleur could do that. If only he could put his money where his mouth is, and make those tough calls. I mean, at least we've seen a change a little bit with the 4th down calls. Like he's going for it more. I mean,
sometimes quizzically,
maybe too much. It's like 4th and 8 or something.
Yeah, the one that honestly they should have converted, but apparently, Bo Melton forgot how to catch footballs, playing in the defensive secondary. Thing hit him right in the shoulder pads, man. It was like, ding, But I didn't agree with that call to go for it there. But yeah, back to the Giants, Tay. This is not a good football team. You mentioned it.
Yeah,
they're 2-8. They give up 27 points per game on average, Tay. That's their average. That is not good. Their secondary is pretty meh. They allowed 171 yards to the Bears on the ground last week, Tay. That's 6.1 yards a carry. That's heady stuff. They allow the most yards in the NFL, 5.5 yards a carry. So that run D, not good. In the Packer run game, not good. Something's got to give, Tay. And they do allow 383 yards a game in total, which is 4th worst in the NFL. So this massively inconsistent Packer offense is really not going to have a lot of excuses going to New York, not being able to run the ball and not being able to move the ball to the tune of, 350 plus yards of offense. If they don't, against a pretty porous defense in all facets, everybody should still be wondering. And yeah, the questions will continue for Matt LaFleur and this team with their inconsistency and why are they what we seemingly think so talented, but why can't they, produce on offense? So
yeah. Well, hopefully this is a prove it game, Ren, and maybe it's a breakout. Maybe Josh Jacobs gets more than 100 rushing yards. Maybe Watson, goes over the 100 mark too. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, they got the number 1 guy in the NFL right now in sacks, and Brian Burns with 11. He didn't have any last week against the Bears. That's their standout. Obviously, their uber, high draft pick that they expect the world of. Abdul Carter has not played really well to start his rookie campaign. On offense, the names we're going to be looking at, when they go up against the Packer defense, is Tyrone Tracy has replaced Scadaboo. He's 5.1 yards per carry last week. We all remember Devin Singletary. He's kind of the backup to the backup there. Darius Slayton had 89 yards last week. He's one of their targets. Wan'Dale Robinson is their number one targeted wide receiver. He had 6 for 62 last week. And they got a decent little tight end in Theo Johnson. He had 7 for 75. We know middle of the field, tight ends, even Dallas Goedert. He was one of the main guys that could catch the ball and move the ball a little bit when the Eagles offense could move a little bit Monday night. So, it really shouldn't prove to be much of a challenge for this Packer defense. The Lions line 3 of the last 4 weeks has allowed four plus sacks. So, excuse me, the Giants line, if I said the Lions, this is a game that should be a get right game. It really should. Do you know the spread? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, I do know. Do you know?
Yep.
It's 7 to the Pack in enemy territory. What do you got? What do you see?
7.5, bro.
7.5.
Hey, man. Vegas, they'll get you on that half point, Tay.
I agree. This is a kind of a prove it game, at least to us Packers fans. But I can't help but remembering that, 4 or 5 years ago when they went to England and played, didn't they play the Giants and lose there in like October? It was just like,
sure did.
Are you kidding me? So
Packers' first ever trip overseas. Yep.
And then they just lay an egg. So anything's possible here, Ren. But man, this would be great. Perfect opportunity for them to get right. Play a team that's down and keep them down, and just show that there's some life left in this offense. And maybe LaFleur bounces back, changes things up a little bit, but keep that defense with they're at least doing some consistent things. But I hope for a fun, feel good looking type of game out of the Packers. That's what I'm looking for. Hopefully we get it. Not sure that that's going to happen, but I think they're going to win at least. What's your score prediction?
Yeah, I'm going to go 27-17, Tay.
27, magic number.
Yeah, right what the Giants give up per game today, and the Packers' magic number. So I'm going to say they win by 10. They cover that 7.5. It should be a get right game. We hope to see some Packer pride out there. Just get back into the win column and just start building from there, man. I mean, just got they talk about it every week. It's a 1-game season, week to week. Well, this is a big one for them, just to get that W back, get that taste back, and then get ready for the Minnesota Vikings the following week. Because again, from New York, you go Vikings, Lions, Bears. As I said, oh my, that's the proving ground. That's where they either win or lose the division over the next 4 weeks.
Yeah, let's shut down the haters now before it gets ugly, right? Going into that NFC North gauntlet.
Yep.
But yeah,
I think it's 3 games in 16 days, Tay?
Yeah.
When you look at how that matches up with the Thanksgiving tilt thrown in there.
Now's the time, Packers. Now's the time. Yep. All right. Thanks for joining me tonight. You got anything else?
I don't, Tay. I'm just kind of
cool. Yeah,
I'm just here, waiting for a W, and not over the moon about most of it. Just prove me you still got pride. Prove me you can get this ship righted. Prove us that you were maybe the team, and it's going to take more than one win to do it. That started out the year, with great wins against Detroit and Washington. Where was that team? So I want to see it again, but you got to prove it in the whole over the next many weeks as opposed to just 1 week. So.
Yeah. Well, thanks for showing up to class, Ren. I appreciate it. And we'll mark you down as an attendee for this week. Hopefully you're back next week, but we will be back after the game for our first takeaways. Check out our live stream then, and appreciate everyone watching. Appreciate everyone tuning in, and we'll be back around.
Yeah, we'll see you for the first take, and then next week, Tay, on episode 335 on the pup list.